Hi everyone, I'm Dandrea-Russert of Purely Planted and author of The Fiber Effect, and today I want to show you how to make the most delicious, hearty bean burgers that are super high in fiber. And when I say hearty, I mean hearty as in satisfying, super satisfying, and grillable, and also hearty as in they are good for your heart. So beets are just amazing vegetables. They're a little polarizing because they do have a really earthy flavor, but in this recipe, you don't taste any of that earthiness. So if beets have been something that you've been wanting to include, but you're a little bit skeptical because you're not sure about the flavor, this is a perfect opportunity to include them. This burger is bursting with flavor from all of the spices. We have beans, we have garlic, we have cumin, we have all kinds of goodness in here. So I'm gonna go through it real quick with you, what we're gonna add to these burgers. Oh, and another important thing is that these burgers only take 10 minutes to prepare. The thing that's gonna take you the longest is scrubbing these guys. So you want to start with, you're going to have a cup of beets. So here I have a cup of beets chopped. You can keep the skin on. Keeping the skin on is even better, but you're also welcome to peel it. You don't even notice the skin in this recipe. So I do recommend that you keep it on. But if you do leave the skin on, you want to scrub it really well because they're a root vegetable. They collect a lot of dirt. So honestly, probably the longest thing that's gonna take you is scrubbing these beets. Oh, I forgot to mention, really important, make sure you wear a color that is going to hide any beet stains because these do stain. They'll stain your hands for like, maybe half a day, not very long, but they do stain. So don't wear any white clothing as you're preparing beets. So, okay, let's go through our mise en place, or having everything in its place, ready to go, is gonna make this recipe super duper simple. So we have, as I mentioned, 1 cup of chopped beets, skin on. We have 1 cup of raw oats, or rolled oats, I should say, raw rolled oats. And it could be old-fashioned or quick cooking oats, either one. And then we have 1.5 cups of white beans. So these can be northern beans or cannellini beans, any bean, white bean of your choice. It's 1.5 cups, and they can be canned or homemade. If they are canned, then just make sure you drain all the liquid out of it before adding them to this recipe. And then we have sunflower seeds. So we have 3/4 of a cup of sunflower seeds. These are raw sunflower seeds. And sunflower seeds, along with the oats and the flax meal, 1/4 of a cup of flax meal, they're gonna help to bind this burger, especially the flax meal. Flax meal acts like an egg in recipes and really helps to bind burgers together. And then we have our delicious spices. So we've got garlic, 3 garlic cloves. These are pretty large cloves, so this may be a little bit more on the garlicky side, but 3 small cloves of garlic is fine. And then our spices, I've added all of these together. So we have a tablespoon of ground cumin, one of my personal favorite spices, a tablespoon of chili powder, and then a tablespoon of onion powder. So don't be afraid to use lots of spices in burger recipes. Spices really give burgers that zesty and flavorful boost of flavor, I should say. So lots of spices for burger recipes. And oh, I have one other spice in here, ground turmeric. So 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, just because turmeric is fantastic for you. It's an anti-inflammatory, so good for you. It adds a little bit of earthiness along with the beets, and it's just a great thing to add to any of your dishes if you can. And because we have turmeric added to this, I'm gonna add a little bit of black pepper because black pepper helps to activate those healthy compounds, the healing compounds, curcumin, and that's in turmeric. So you always want to add some black pepper. Heat also helps to activate turmeric, as well as some fat. So we're gonna have heat here. We have some fat with the nuts or the seeds, and then we also have the black pepper. So we're in good hands with the turmeric being activated. And then finally, we have 1.5 tablespoons of organic mellow white miso. This is a soy paste that adds an umami flavor and a little bit of saltiness to the burgers that really adds some deliciousness. I love using miso in recipes just to add a little bit of that depth of flavor. If you can't find white miso, then you can also use chickpea miso, or if you don't want to use soy, you can use chickpea miso as well in this recipe. Okay, so basically the way this is going to happen, you have all of your, this preparation here should only take you about 10 minutes. We are going to throw everything in the food processor, make our patties, and then place them in the oven. So the first thing we want to do is set the oven to 375. Okay, so while that is preparing, we are going to, well, that's heating, we are going to prepare our burgers. It is time to get our hands messy, and if you have kids, call them into the kitchen now and make sure they wash their hands. This is a great hand washing test for them, or a teaching moment, I should say. Okay, so we have our beets. As you can see, it is formed into a nice, beautiful dough that is going to make these beets grillable. They're going to stay together perfectly. I went ahead and I scraped the sides a couple times and ran the food processor a couple times. So it takes a couple of times of scraping to really get it all mixed together, but it comes together really perfectly. So I'm actually going to make, this recipe makes about 6 burgers. I'm going to make them a little bit extra thick. There are 2 of us eating tonight, so I'm going to go for anywhere between 4 and 6 nice thick burgers. And they're dense and heavy and beautiful. How pretty is that color? Again, you're gonna get your hands messy, so if you prefer to wear gloves during this, you could do that, but it washes off pretty easily. So you just wanna scrape it out of the food processor, place it on your parchment lined baking sheet. You can also spray a little bit of oil if you want to do that. So either one works, just so that they don't stick. And gosh, these form such perfect patties, and you're gonna get so much nutrition. As I mentioned, there's iron in beets. These are packed with fiber. There's almost 10 grams of fiber per patty when you make them nice and thick, depending on how many you're making. You could also make these into, if you're having a gathering, then you can also make these into sliders and little mini burgers with mini buns. So we're gonna make the burgers, we're gonna place them in the oven and let them cook for 40 minutes, flipping them halfway through. And then once they are done, we are going to layer. It's my favorite thing to do. So we're gonna add all kinds of nutrition goodness. We're gonna add avocado, smashed avocado to them. We are going to add one of my favorite condiments of all time, our pickled onions. They're super easy to make. You basically just slice an onion, medium onion, red onion, yellow onion. I prefer red. I think it has a little bit more flavor. Plus, you get anthocyanins, which is a healthy compound in plants that give onions a purple color, and they're so good for you. Heart healing, more heart healing, good for the blood pressure. I'm getting 5 burgers out of this, by the way, because I made them super thick. I'm just showing off my burgers, making them super thick. But you can make them smaller than this, depending on how many people you're feeding in your family. You can get 6 to 8 burgers out of this as well. So I've got 5. Anyway, back to the pickled onions. Slice the onions really thin. Get like a small to medium onion, slice it really thin on a mandolin or just manually, and use half a cup of red wine vinegar, half a cup of water, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt to half a teaspoon, whichever you prefer, and massage those onions into the vinegar solution and for about maybe 30 seconds, and then place them in the fridge until you're ready to eat them. They stay in the fridge good for 2 weeks, and you'll want to add them to everything from avocado toast to sandwiches to wraps, everything. They're so good. So, okay, I've got 5 beautiful burgers out of this. And we are going to bake this in the oven at 375 for 40 minutes, flipping them halfway through, and then I'll meet you back on the other side. Okay, the beet burgers are done. It smells delicious in here with all those spices, and I'm just going to give you a little visual. We did have a little breakage here with the one that I was going for that was on the bigger side. So yeah, we got 5 burgers. You could easily get 6 burgers out of this beet mixture, and you can see how pretty they are with the beautiful purple color. Now I love to just layer it up with a ton of other vegetables. Well, not a ton, a handful of other vegetables. So if you have a favorite sauce, this is a little spicy mustard sauce that we made, and I'm just gonna layer that on the bottom layer of bread. You actually don't even need a sauce with this. The avocado, when we add the smashed avocado, it adds creamy texture and delicious flavor. For all of you avocado lovers, you know how yummy and nutritious avocados are. But I like a little bit of extra sauce on my sandwiches. It's just fun, a fun addition to like the burger and the crunchy onions that we're about to add. Actually, I'm gonna add those next. Next, we're gonna add the greens. So whenever you have a sandwich or a wrap, definitely any opportunity you can add any kind of leafy green, go ahead and do that. It tastes delicious. I'm adding some arugula, which gives this a little bit of a mustard spice on top of that spicy mustard I just added. And I like to add lots of greens. The burger's gonna push it down. It's not even gonna seem, if you have a hard time getting greens in, we've got an onion in there. This is a great opportunity to pile the greens up high so that you can get all of the nutrition that greens offer, including fiber, but also magnesium and folate and just so much good nutrition in greens. So any meal, you get the opportunity to add greens, add them. Next, we are going to add our pickled onion. So I use red onion. I explained before I like red onion, but you could use white onion or yellow. And this is just a mixture of vinegar, water, onion. You massage the onion into the vinegar and water, and it makes for the most delicious condiment that you'll add on lots of things. So add as much as you like there. I love to go a little overboard on the onion. And then finally, we're gonna add our smashed avocado. So this is a half of an avocado. If you're making this for more than one person, then you could probably use a whole avocado and spread a nice thick layer of avocado on this sandwich. And then finally, we are gonna add the masterpiece, the beets, the burger, the star of the show, and place it right there in the middle of the sandwich. And, whoop, wrong way. Place that. Now, if you have buns, it does work a little bit better because the beets are obviously round, so a bun is a better fit. But from there, we're just gonna cut our sandwich. If you have an opportunity to toast the bread, it's even better. And look at that beet burger. It's so good. Nice and thick. Again, these are great on the grill. They hold together really well. The patties just are really firm. And you've got creamy avocado with it, crunchy lettuce, pickled onions, so yummy. It's ready to go. So think about these for your either preparing them for the week. You'll have lunch all week long. You can make these burgers and freeze them with parchment paper lined in between each one so that you can just grab one out throughout the month as you're ready for it. You can also, as I mentioned before, you can make tiny burgers and make them into sliders for a fun little appetizer if you're having a family and friend gathering for the summer. And there's all kinds of things you could do with this. So if you end up making it, please let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Again, I'm Dandrea-Russert with Purely Planted, author of The Fiber Effect. Oh, and you're getting tons of fiber, more than 10 grams of fiber in this whole meal, almost 10 grams in just one beet patty. So you're getting lots of fiber in this meal. So I hope you enjoy it.